let's talk a bit more about shadow work and the fear of standing in your own power. Hi, I'm Sandra from MysteryWitchSchool.com, and if you're new to the channel and you want to become a witch or a Wiccan, or you just want to know more about it, hit the subscribe button below so that you don't miss anything. Shadow work. If you don't know what shadow work is, I'll give you a very brief rundown of shadow work. The shadow comes from the Jungian psychological model, and it's looking at those parts of ourselves that are deemed to be bad or wrong. They're parts of ourselves that we will deny we have. Many of us will deny we have these qualities. Those of us who know that we have them will pretend we don't because we feel ashamed. We've been taught to feel shame around these qualities, and we don't want them. And a lot of people try really hard to become better people and do self-development work and spiritual work in order to be able to overcome these shadow qualities. And when I'm talking about the shadow qualities, I'm talking about things like selfishness, greed, narcissism, arrogance, all that sort of stuff. The truth is, every single human being on the planet has a shadow side, and we have a shadow side for a reason. All of these qualities are to help us stay alive. They're self-preservation qualities. If we didn't have them to some extent, we would probably all be dead and not watching we wouldn't be watching the video. I wouldn't be doing it. We'd probably be dead because we wouldn't have a sense of self-preservation. It's when the shadow qualities aren't owned and they're not worked with that they bubble up under the surface and come out in ways that can be really destructive and really negative. But if you do the inner work, the inner path of witchcraft, and you start working on yourself, and you get to know these parts of yourself, and you can confidently own them and not feel ashamed of them, you actually begin to stand in your power because you have a strong sense of self. So knowing all of your positive qualities and being okay with that, knowing the qualities that are deemed to be bad, being okay with that, because when you stop judging yourself for having these qualities, you actually stop judging other people for having them too. And the people that perhaps have been coming into your life that have these qualities that you don't like, that irritate you, that annoy you, even to the point of bullying you, if you can take a look at those qualities within yourself and uncover them and make peace with them, those people usually end up going away because you're not attracting them anymore. So that's kind of a brief rundown of shadow work in the general sense, but it's much more than that. It's also about understanding the whole of yourself so that you can fully step into your power, step into your truth, and open up to the experience of that connection to your spirit self, to nature, and to the gods and goddesses and other spirits. It really opens you up to working and feeling connected to all and everything, because there's no judgment happening towards anything else out there because you've stopped judging yourself. Now, that doesn't mean that you turn into an arrogant, selfish, narcissistic person. It actually means that you actually become less of that. You become more confident, you take more care of yourself, you know when you need to say no and when you can say yes. You can be able to put yourself out there and do the things that you want to do. You have more confidence in your community. All of these things come from doing the shadow work and standing in the shadow power. So it's a real alchemical process. It's an inner alchemy. So what I wanted to talk about with the whole thing about power is that standing in your power is one of the scariest things you'll ever do. Marianne Williamson said something to the effect, and I can't remember the exact quote, that it's not self-doubt or it's not that we're not good enough that we're afraid of, it's that we are more powerful than we can believe. That is actually our biggest fear. And the people that I work with, when I work with clients one-on-one doing the coaching, every one of them comes to this point where you are challenged by your power and it scares the crap out of you when you get there. it scared me when I got there. It was like, this is really frightening. And one of the reasons for that is because when you're standing in your power, there's a lot of people in culture, in family, in tribe that do not want you to stand in your power because it's threatening to them and their position and how they see themselves and how they see themselves in relation to you. So there's a lot of fear around being ostracized from your community because standing in your power will provoke feelings of shame and beliefs about who do you think you are, being arrogant, being selfish, being too much of a loudmouth. All of those things will come up, and it's something you have to actually work through, and that's part of shadow work, is to work through the fear of your power of being able to stand in your truth and actually speak your truth and be able to express yourself in the world and create the life that you want to live. So that is something to ponder when you're thinking about doing shadow work and you're doing the various different types of modalities and techniques that you can use for shadow work, that you might get to a point where, now as a witch, you may think that you won't be afraid of power, because power is something that, being empowered is something a lot of witches say that they want from the path or that they're attracted to from the path. But when push comes to shove and you do the work, it's often something that you will meet during the journey, and it's something that you have to work through and get to the other side so that you can really then start to stand in your power. So that was just what I wanted to talk about in regards to shadow work section. And in future videos, I want to start introducing some modalities that you can use for your shadow work, and focus a lot on that aspect of the craft. Because yes, we've got magic and we've got energy work and we've got all this stuff to change the outer world around us. But the real juice of magic is actually what happens inside of ourselves, because the more you can stand in your power internally, the more you feel confident, the more you feel joy and peace and happiness inside yourself, the more your world around you will start to reflect that. And you may find you're not using necessarily magic as much as you used to, and you're much more confident in yourself. So that's why shadow work is so important. We can do spells to fix things and spells to attract things and bring things in, but those spells will be affected by your inner state. If there's a lot of self-doubt, a lot of the spells that you might be doing for career, for example, may not work as well as you wanted them to, or you may not follow up on the spells with real world action. The magic might bring you a situation, but you run from it because you don't feel you're good enough to actually really go for what it is that you want. So the inner work is really, really important to help the magic and help the spell work do what it is that you're really wanting to do, and that you follow up on it. So that's shadow work. And if you are in a position where you really are wanting to work on these inner parts of yourself, because maybe the shame, the self-doubt, anxiety, all of these things are just getting too much for you, and you know it really is in the way, and maybe you've tried lots of different things to try and push through it and move through it, but you're still stuck, I do offer a 30-minute clarity session over Zoom, wherever you are in the world, and we can have a chat and see if there is a way that I can help you move through that, and help you get clear really about where you are now, where you really want to be, and what's stopping you from getting there. So take advantage of that if you are serious about wanting to make some changes in your inner world. The link to my calendar will be in the description field below. I'll see you on the next video. In the meantime, do really embrace your power, and I'll see you on the next video. Blessed be.